friends, welcome back to Stacey CAN CAN. Today we are making Lavender Chardonnay Jelly. It's basically what you would do is take some fresh lavender or dried lavender flowers. I have a friend who has a lavender bush and I cut some off of that today. And you make a tea. You pour hot water over it or you let it steep in hot water. And you make a tea from that, and then you can, from that tea, from that juice basically, is you add your pectins and such, and you can make a jelly from it. So it's a nice, what folks consider a soft spread. And it's kind of a fun way to add a little twist to your canning season and add some fragrances, fragrant floral items to your pantry, or give as gifts. They're beautiful and they're fun gifts to give for weddings or showers or just to consume yourself. So what we need today is 2.5 cups of water, and then you can either use like 1/4 of a cup of dried lavender flowers, or you can use, it's kind of 1/3 of if you have 1/3 of a cup of dried, you would need a full cup of fresh. So I did 1/4 of a cup of dried lavender, and then 2/3 cup, 3/4 cups of fresh flowers. So that's what I'm using today is the fresh flower. You need 1/2 cup of Chardonnay. You need 1 1/3 cups of sugar. You need a pouch of liquid pectin. It's a little bit easier to dissolve when you're working with jellies. And you can, if you want, add some 3 drops of red and 2 drops of blue food coloring if you want to give it some color. I don't. I like the crisp clearness color of the jelly when it's done. I think it's lovely. But if you want to add the coloring, that's up to you. You're also going to need a sieve of some sort. So after you steep the flour, then you would use a sieve to drain it. If you don't have a sieve, you can also use some cheesecloth. You need your jars, your lids, your rings. I am heating the lids today, so we're definitely going to do that with a pan. You will need your tools. You're going to need your funnel. You'll need your ladle, your jar lifter, your Headspace tool, and your lid lifter. And you're going to need a spoon to stir stuff with, as well as your water bath canner. So this is how we are making lavender jelly today, and it should be a very fragrant experience in the house. Okay, so we brought the water, 2.5 cups of water, just to a boil, and I'm going to turn this off. And I have, because these were fresh flowers, fresh lavender, I have kind of rinsed it a little bit just to get some of the bugs off, and I'm just scooping these out of the strainer into the pot, and we're gonna let this steep for 20 minutes. Oh my goodness, you can smell the fragrance right now. So we're gonna strain this and let this steep for 20 minutes. We're doing this uncovered, and when it's done, then we'll go ahead and start. We'll transfer it into a larger saucepan and bring it to a boil and add some sugar. All right, so the timer has gone off, and we're gonna go ahead. After our 10 minutes, we're going to strain the lavender flowers into a larger pot. We will be adding sugar to this as well, so you do need a larger pot. I'm gonna go ahead and push the dried flowers into the sieve a little bit, just to make sure that we get as much of the juice as possible. Today we're using a liquid pectin, so we're gonna be adding more sugar to it than the no sugar, low sugar pectins. So right now I'm gonna go ahead and add, as we're bringing this to a boil, we're adding our 1 1/3 cups of sugar. This little stir. And also 1/3 of a cup, or 1/4 of a cup, I gotta make sure I have the right one. Yep, 1/4 of a cup of Chardonnay. And this Chardonnay, I mean, don't use a fancy Chardonnay. I mean, it's just, you're gonna be cooking with it, so don't use anything fancy. All right, now we've got a boil going, a rolling boil. We're gonna go ahead and add the liquid pectin. Woo! All right, I got a rolling boil going, and we're gonna go ahead and set the timer for 2 to 4 minutes. I'll check it after 2. All right, we got the rolling boil. The timer went off. I'm gonna go ahead and cut the heat. We're gonna do a quick pectin test. We're gonna look for some sheeting. Let's see if we've got it thick enough. This is the part where you, if you don't have it as thick as you want, you can add some more pectin to it. Okay, so I did the pectin test, and I'm not quite pleased with the amount of how it gelled up. It didn't really gel up too well. So I'm gonna add another probably half pouch of pectin, of the liquid pectin, just to get it a little more gelatinous. It was really, really runny. Hi folks, this is my oops moment, so I'm sliding in here as we're talking about liquid pectin. I made a boo-boo. I added the liquid pectin too soon in the process. Liquid pectin does not need to be rehydrated like powdered pectin does. Powdered pectin, you have to put it in at the beginning of the boiling process of whatever jam or jelly that you're making, and then you bring that to a rolling boil, because that will rehydrate the pectin when it's in powder form. Liquid pectin is ready to go, and you add it at the right when you're done cooking, getting your sugar all mixed in with whatever jam, jelly that you're making, with whatever ingredients you're using, get the sugar done and melted, and then you add the liquid pectin, so it doesn't do this after it's all said and done, after it's sealed and you're completely finished. Now, this is still edible. It's still edible, and we will eat it, but it's more like, you know, you pour this over ice cream or pancakes or whatever. It's still delicious. It's just very liquidy. Timer went off again. Let's do another pectin test. It's sheeting. It's starting to sheet. And I think we're gonna be okay with this now. I don't wish to add any more. So you see how it's kind of sheeting? Jellies have a tendency to be a little more wobbly than jams. So we're gonna go ahead and leave it as is. All right, we're gonna go ahead and take out the jars. I did have jars heating in the canner here. We don't want to put some hot liquid into a cold jar. It'll shock the jar, and if you crack it, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna fill. Look at that color. We're gonna fill this to a 1/4 inch headspace. That's what's needed for most of your jams and your jellies. Okay, and I'm using 1/2 pints here. Make sure to clean the, did you see that? I bumped it. Now we're gonna have to double check. Make sure we wipe it down very good. In fact, I'm gonna use the other end. Good Lord. Use your lid lifter. That is hot potato, so I need a towel. A good hand tightening, and gently set it into the canner. All right, we got the jars in the canner. We're going to go ahead and lower this down. And we got to make sure we have at least an inch of water in the canner over the top of the jars, which we do. We're going to go ahead and cover it, bring it up to a boil, and once it's got into a rolling boil, we're going to set the timer for 10 minutes. All right, so we have a rolling boil, as you can see there. I'm going to go ahead and set the timer for 10 minutes. All right, the timer has gone off. We're going to go ahead and take the countertop off. Remember, open the lid away from your face so you don't get a facial you don't want. We're going to gently lift the jars out of the canner. And remove them one by one. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Isn't that a beautiful color? Isn't that pretty? Look at that. Oh, so pretty. And that, my friends, is Lavender Chardonnay Jelly. One of our soft spreads that they have out there. So you can go ahead and check the show notes and such below for details. The recipe is down there as well. Please like and subscribe my page. And if you have any questions, comments, suggestions, reach out to me. I'm on Facebook at Stacey CAN CAN. Instagram is at me at Stacey CAN CAN. Website is www.staceycancan.com, and my email is info@staceycancan.com. Thanks for joining me today, and happy canning.